We're back on the XCR800. Let's see how far we can get.
We'll get it fixed.
So it's just me and Dennis tonight. Brad will probably be over later. Lonnie and Tommy got stuff going on. You can see we're pretty far. Our goal is to keep assembling it. But the first thing we're going to do is take a step backwards.
Oh,
I know. We put the brake caliper on without popping the piston out and cleaning it, rebuilding. And we've seen so many stuck calipers lately on these that's a standard procedure now when we go through the sled. So we're going to step back and do that, and then we'll get the coolant bottle on, the oil bottle on, fit up the pipes, do some plumbing, do some wiring, all that good stuff. And then we're going to take it almost to where we could run it, but we're not going to clean the carbs tonight.
Oh,
clean the carbs. I might do that over the weekend. I'm waiting on a couple parts, which I'll explain when I'm cleaning them. But I don't know. Should we get after it?
yeah. Let's make it a quickie.
Yeah, short video probably. All right, so we wanted to show you with this reverse, it bolts on where the caliper bolts on, so you can't just grab the caliper up and out. So what you got to kind of do is pop that up and out like so, and kind of work it out.
She slides in.
It's okay. It's okay. So
Yeah, we should have thought of that right away.
we should have done it before, but we'll blow all this apart, take this hose off, and, make it not stuck. All right, if you haven't seen this enough, down here we're going to just pop the piston out. Just a little air. I guess I should close the bleeder all the way. There we go. Now hopefully the piston will pop right out. If it doesn't, there we go. All right. So she was a little sticky, obviously, and there's some rust and stuff in there. But the main thing is to get the seal out and clean all the grunge that's behind the seal. And I guarantee you, there's some grunge back there. That was pretty tight. Would have stuck. It wasn't stuck yet, but it would have stuck.
She popped.
It went pop.
And hi, Brad.
It's kind of a miracle. I don't know if you can see in the groove, but there was no grunge in that groove like there usually is. Rubber seal's fine, so we'll just put it back together. And I will be putting some new pads on it. The brake pads were almost shot. All right, it's a good thing we decided to do this again. Those pads were pretty shot. I mean, I might have got a season or two out of them, but yep, we'll change them out.
Edit.
So we're fitting up the Wall Brothers torque arm right now. You can see what it is. I mean, it bolts to the engine and it bolts to the bulkhead. We're not going to drill the hole, it is adjustable, obviously, but we're not going to drill the hole or anything because I'm going to go see Chet at Minnesota Motorsports, and he's got the super fancy clutch alignment tool that locks onto everything. Mm-hmm. So we're going to give that a try and see if I like that or not. I don't know. I've never used one before. And then we will locate this and drill the hole. So there you go. Highly advised by everyone to put this on. And for those of you that said, oh, you should get the Ninja Plumber one. Well, I did. I tried anyways. But so that's kind of a bummer. But we're going with Wall Brothers. Hell, Chet uses these on all his race sleds, and
very well respected.
Yeah, Wall Brothers is awesome, and Chet makes a lot more power than I do, so ought to be just fine.
All right.
All right, it's another day, and I took a little bit of a step backwards because I'm working on kind of a fiddly area. It can actually cause you a lot of problems if you don't get it right. So I'm talking about right down here where the harness goes over the jack shaft. So there was a zip tie. The harness was left in the sled. There was a zip tie to this bracket. Wasn't exactly confidence inspiring. So, yeah, I added a new zip tie, and I added another one up here to tie the tail light harness to that. And then you're thinking, well, Nutter, when it's vibrating around, when it's getting hot, that could still droop. Well, that looks like a place for one more zip tie to hold up the harness once I get the coolant bottle in. So we'll get back to that, and I'll sleep well knowing I'm not going to have any wiring rubbed through on the jack shaft on this sled. All right, so here's an XCR800 thing I just learned. That's not going to go. Water pump and motor mount are fighting each other. But luckily, it seems like the answer is pretty easy. We'll just pull this stuff back out. And of course, I'm holding the bolt by the camera. But, hey, look. It went in this time. Like, no big deal. I guess maybe I got a little bit of fighting to do, but it's almost through. So, there you go. I can feel it's through now. Just got to push that stuff down. So there you go. XCR800 stuff. And for that matter, probably SPX Ultra, XCR 600 Ultra-based aggressives too, I'd imagine. I'd imagine they're all the same if they got this water pump and this chassis. All right, I can't one-hand it like Todd. As you guys can see, Chet stopped by. I was struggling one motor mount bolt. I just couldn't get it through, so Chet helped me muscle that in. And Chet brought over something I've never used before. This is
Bud Pro.
Yeah, I don't have the clutch on yet, so we'll show you this later. But you basically set that down on the clutch face and use that to get your clutch super aligned.
Yep. And this will just sit right down on there nice and tight. And some of our race motors, I actually let them you get kind of a click, so you have some resistance on the front part there.
Okay.
Because we have so much traction, and our motors are twisting so much with the extra horsepower. I like to have a little extra lead on that, but on our trail stuff, you just want that to sit right down and nice on the primary there, and
gotcha.
It helps. I mean, we got some horsepower going through our belts, and we've never blown a belt, so
wow,
it's a good tool.
That's cool. All right, Chet. Well, you're here, and for the people watching, and because I need some advice, what angle of the dangle would you set this up? Would you put it as high as you can? Do you angle it so it's up to the rear slightly?
On these chassis, it's more so staying away from your shock.
Yeah.
And making sure this Heim doesn't get interference with this triangle bracing here.
So anywhere in here then.
And so you can still get your bolt through on the bottom side of the belly pan here.
Right.
It's more so not necessarily the angle is what we worry about, but just staying away from the face of the chassis so you can get a nice washer on the backside, and you can get, let alone your socket on there.
Okay.
Because I've gotten excited and drilled a hole too soon, and then it's like, oh boy, I can't hardly get a socket on that bolt to get it tightened up. So
I'll give that some thought.
yeah,
maybe if I might have to take the shock out.
they leave you quite a bit of thread here.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, the Heim is pretty long actually, so you can thread it out, and yeah.
Yep, and that's a Wall Brothers. That's what Chet runs on all his race sleds, so that's part of why I went with it. The other reason is, like I said earlier, Ninja Plumber, whatever. Apparently he doesn't make them for aggressives anymore. That's what he told me, at least. So
yeah, no, they work good. I haven't had no issues, and like I said, we don't blow belts, and we're putting them to the limit. So
cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Chet. All right, I'm using that clutch tool I borrowed from Chet, and this is really interesting. So you can see I've got it on the jack shaft there. Over here, I've got this front lower one just flush, and you could probably see there's a pretty big gap on the top here and about half the gap over here to flush. So what does that mean? It means that corner, the front right corner, I believe, needs to go up. I think that'll help. That's my theory anyways. Let's give it a try. All right, so I busted that motor mount loose and getting ready to do some shimming, and look what I found. You see this? There's no washer. So when the boys drop this in, they skip the washer. So I'll put a washer in there, and we'll see how much that helps or doesn't help or whatever it's going to do. All right, I got that washer in there, and I don't know if you can tell, but it got me halfway there. So I guess I'm going to put one more washer in, and we'll see where it ends up. All right, got it. That extra washer on top of the missing washer, that was enough. At least it's close enough. We're not going any further. We're not drag racing this, and this is set up for Chet's drag racing application, where he basically has the motor. He puts a little Kentucky windage in there to make sure, under torque things line up right. So, anyways, it's real good. One more washer would put it too far, so we're going to stop there. The center distance somehow got slightly long. I'm not worried about that. That's easily adjusted for with the secondary, so we're going to leave that. It is just a little snug. It does fit, but kind of clicks in at this point instead of just a nice easy drop. But otherwise, real good. Darn near perfect. More than good enough for a trail ride sled. All right, I got the torque arm in, as you can see. Pretty happy with that location and that angle. Kind of tucks up in here real nice. And that's all good. I got this stop adjusted. I got that stop adjusted. I didn't go crazy on them, but I took out all the slack and put a little preload in them. I don't know how much. I don't know. I can't give you a number. I just did it. So same with this. Well, I had to make sure that the bolt would go through. So you really can't preload the torque arm. But everything's in. Everything's tight. And I think the motor's going to stay where it should. Well, it's another day again, and I'm back in the shop. And, well, I knew this little bit of ugliness was here. Gross, huh? I could kind of see it up through the bottom. So I guess that means it's a trip out to the parts sled. Good thing I have a parts sled. So this one from the parts sled looks a lot better, and it should. It's got like 8,000 less miles on it. Mostly I'm going to keep it as is, but this cover is all damaged, so we'll swap that out so that it stays firm and doesn't rattle around on me. Back to swapping. All right, it's another day in the shop. I know it seems like I'm not getting a lot done on any given day, and, well, that's true. Spring is here, and I've got other stuff to do. I needed to do some car work yesterday for most of the day. Today, who knows? We'll see how much I get done before something else comes up. But we're back at the sled, and I know to the casual observer, you're going, well, put on the carbs and fire it up. But no, I've got a ton of stuff left to do, and some of it's a real pain in the butt. So let's show you a couple right now. The fuel pump goes here, and look at that. Stupid me. I put this thing together with one of the bolts missing. This one's loose. That's why there's a nut on it so it doesn't fall through. Got to take care of that, get the fuel pump mounted up. And then my box here, you can see one of the mounting ears broke off. So I'm going to make a little sheet metal bracket, and I will show you how I do that. The other ear's fine. And the sheet metal bracket will just hold it in place, just like nothing ever went wrong. So those are my next two things. I still got a lot to do. Like the oil line isn't hooked up, plumbing, carbs, as I mentioned before. Put on the pipes. A lot of little pieces. So we'll get there eventually. If you're a longtime viewer, you know this isn't the first time we've made this mistake here at Nutter Speed Shop. And I've shown you a few ways of pulling that bolt through. And, I came up with a new one last night. So it's pretty easy, actually. Works great. At least I think it's going to work great. So I soldered it. I soldered the bolt to the end of some 045 welding wire for TIG. Solder is a good secure connection. And then we've got to walk around to this side so you can see. But there's the wire coming out the hole. Eventually, when I get the bolt out the hole, I'll just drop the Tinnerman clip down, thread it on, hit it again with the torch, wipe off the molten solder, and call it good. All right, we're back. Let me rip this paper towel off of there so that it's not so in the way of your view. All right. So, right here, did you even notice it? I got a little Tinnerman in the foreground. I took the vice grip off the other side, and I'm expecting there to be a little bit of work, but that is the easiest time I have ever had doing this. I hope you guys all appreciated that. Now, as long as I can thread the Tinnerman past the blob of solder, but even if I can't, I'll just hook the vice grip on the shank of the bolt and wipe off the solder. Oh, Tinnerman threaded right on. Tell me that's not one of the best things you've ever seen for this situation. I am absolutely thrilled with that. Problem solved. Oh, I can hear it already. That's a trick. That couldn't work. That's really hard to solder. How'd you get that stuck on there? Then again, 99% of you are going, oh, that's a great idea, and I can do that. But for that 1%, here we go. So we're going to aim the camera down here. So one of the first things you got to know is it's a brand new shiny bolt, not somebody's greasy old bolt. And this stuff is called tinning paste. You need tinning paste. You could probably do it without it, but it helps. This is just cheap old electrical solder. That's all I used. Nothing special. So let me pick up that wire. All right, I forgot to mention the welding wire that I dropped on the floor. I picked it up. It's a little dirty now. You do want to keep it clean, but I think it'll still work. I'd shorten it up just for ease of handling. You don't need 3 feet of welding wire. So, step number 1, get some tinning paste on your brush. And we're going to set this aside because I don't want it to get hot. All right, get your bolt nice and hot. You can see the zinc burned away, but look at that. Now it's tinned. All right. Now, with the tinning paste on there, now we're going to get some solder on there. Heat it up good, make sure it bonds. All right. There we go. So that's it. And it's connected. It's connected real good. Yeah, you can break it if you pull hard enough. Now, at the other end, once you pulled it through, you got your Tinnerman clip on. You want to get rid of that? All gone. Hope you guys appreciated that. All right, made that little bracket. Didn't take long at all. So there it is. Put a little piece of rubber, as you can see in there. Do have a little bit of gap to pull up there like I want, and there will be a little gap on this side, so it'll be snug. And I put a little bow in the middle so it'll clamp down on the rubber. So there we go. I'm going to paint it now. Well, I'm literally waiting for the paint to dry on that bracket. So I decided to drop in the pipes and test fit them. I don't know if you guys remember, it's been a while ago, but when I built the engine, I left the exhaust flanges loose. I didn't want to compress the gaskets yet, just because I wasn't 100% sure I had the pipes in the right spot, but, or I should say the flanges in the right spot, because they're all 3 different, and they all have different angles on them. Conceivably, maybe you could put them in upside down. I don't know if that would work or not. Didn't seem like it would, but conceivably. So anyways, everything looks good there. I'm going to pull these pipes back out, and we'll tighten down the flanges, and then I think we'll put the pipes in for real after that. And if you're watching this video going, hey, show me how those flanges fit again, well, here you go. So the mag side is the most angle, and the center is the middle, and there's hardly any angle on the PTO, and they are all angled to the PTO. Everything's more difficult than it should be. So this location down here is a hex head bolt, and I think it's supposed to be. Either that or you got to put it on before the water pump. But I know that there was a hex head there originally, and yep, I got it torqued. But I ended up making a special super stubby 10mm socket and running it on a wobble extension. And it's kind of ironic because I've got this novelty package of every 10mm socket in the world, except that one. All right, I got the pipes on. What a picnic. Not. I know I took them off when the hood was on there, and I know it can be done, but yeah, that's a lot of pipe in a small space right there. And the paint eventually dried, and I got the little ignition box hooked up right, and she's mounted real good, real solid, good as ever. I feel like that was a great fix. So with that said, I want to say a huge thanks to all the patrons. If you don't know, the patrons are the super fans of the channel. They're the major supporters. They give us a little monthly donation of $5 or $10, and in return, well, they get to see all the videos early, and they get to see them ad-free, and that's over on Patreon. They can watch them there, or they can watch them on their phone on the phone app. We really appreciate it, guys, and obviously you see the beer and the pizza in almost every video, keeping the shop going. I also want to say thanks to anybody that's given us a super thanks. It's pretty much fallen off for the summer, just like video views are. But if you like this kind of thing, please hit us up with the super thanks. It really helps promote the channel. It really helps us with YouTube. YouTube likes to see those. That is probably the number one thing you can do if you want to see the channel grow on YouTube. Otherwise, Patreon's a great thing to do as well. So, anyways, the name or names you see up there for super thanks, that's who's given us one in the last week or two. Really appreciate it. So with that said, we'll see you at the swap meets.